This story takes place about 3,000 years ago, and it involved a man and a woman who were kings and queens, and I guess they loved each other. They'd been married for a while, but there came a time in their relationship where they each had a celebration, like a party, and the king had all the guys around, and the queen had all the girls around. And the king and his mates were just getting wasted. And as the evening progressed, they got drunker and drunker until the king's like, I want to show off my wife. She's a cutie, and I want my mates to like her too. So he sent a servant to his wife's party, and the servant pretty much was saying, oh, the king wants to see you. Report immediately to the king and all his mates. And so if you're a woman in that situation, you'd probably be thinking, not really fussed. I don't really want to be, I guess, on display. And so she sent back the response, not on your life. So another time, go away, I'm not interested. And so he was quite heartbroken, like, oh, my wife's not obeying me. And so at that point, all his friends were like, oh, if you don't make her obey you this time, then everybody else in the kingdom, their wives won't obey them, and then they'll be out of here. And so the king's like, yeah, good point. So what he did was he just divorced her on the spot. He's like, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. You don't follow my orders. Go. And so she had to pack her bags and move out of the kingdom. So that's pretty abrupt and a bit rude. So the moral to that story is don't divorce when your wife doesn't obey you, because that's rude. Anyway, but like, eventually the king was just over about 6 months, he just figured out that he was lonely, and he was missing his wife, but he couldn't get her back because she had moved into probably another guy. No, I don't know. But like, he was lonely, and so he's like, I know, I'll get a new wife. And so what he did was, you know, Australian Idol? He sort of had an Australian Idol for a wife, and searched for a wife. And so he had quite a few women, and he brought them in and he gave them sort of plastic surgery, or the equivalent, for 6 months, and perfuming for 6 months. So 6 months they were just sprayed with like all the finest perfumes. So what these women were like, whoa, you smell amazing, and you look amazing too. And so one of the women was a woman called Esther, and she was a Jewish woman, and Jews weren't really popular. They were sort of like an outcast group, so she just kept that on the down low. She's like, oh yes, I'm just white like everybody else, I'm great. And so the king really liked her. And as the competition got up to the final days, the king's like, I want you. I want you to be my wife. And so another thing that happened in that day was that Esther's uncle heard that somebody wanted to kill the king, and so he told him, and the king, like, he saved the king's life. And so the king just noted it in the history books, like, Mordecai is good, we love Mordecai, but he just forgot about it. And sometimes you do good, and it's forgotten about, and that's just the way it is. But later in the story, something cool might happen. Anyway, so the marriage started to develop. The Prime Minister of the land really hated Jews, alright? Like, a lot of people are racist in the world, and a lot of people are anti-Jewish, I guess. And this guy, the Prime Minister, just hated Jews. But he's like, hey king, can I give you $10,000 and you let me execute all the Jews? So imagine that, somebody coming to Australia and going, really don't like Australia, and going to say the UN guy and just saying, can I pay like $100 million just to execute all Australia? It's not very nice. And the king's like, well, I don't like Australia or Jews either. So yeah, sure, go. You don't have to pay me. I'll let you do it for free. And so he rolled some dice and he set a date of like December 18th, okay? So on December 18th, all Australia is going to be wiped out. Just imagine that. I'm telling this story, I can change countries anytime. But we'll go back to Israel. Israel was because like the Jewish people were going to be wiped out. So the capital of Israel, they just went nuts. They were like, no, we're going to die! And they ran through the streets and they were just panicking. Anyway, somebody went to Esther and just said, Esther, you're the queen. You can stop this. Like, you can go into the king and beg him not to kill all the Jews. And she's like, but I'm scared. And this guy just said, this may be the very reason you were born. Like, you were probably placed on this earth and you were probably made breathtakingly beautiful. So you could get into the palace, so that you could have this moment with the king and stop him killing all the Jews. And she's like, yeah, okay, good point. Maybe. And so she's like, well, fast for me. Go without food. Everybody in the kingdom, go without food. So probably 100,000 people went without food for a couple of weeks. And she did too. And she asked her husband out to have dinner with her, alright? And she asked her husband and the Prime Minister, which is really odd, having dinner